Thank you and welcome back to my channel again. Today is video is about just your last 24 hours in prison. So 24 hours in HMP scrubs for me um, was kind of crazy. Um, how it starts really is that you get sent a letter to your prison cell um, up to 16 weeks before your release date. Um, what happens here is that they let you know whether you're eligible for tag or home detention curfew, as they call it, or HDC. So your offending manager, prison manager, will come down, talk to you about the details. Um, they let you know if you're eligible. You need to do an immigration check first as well, which is another crazy ass thing that happened to me in jail actually. At Scrubs, I got sent a letter saying that I wasn't eligible for tag because I could be deported. Now I'm British born. I've got a British passport, British birth certificate, born at St Mary's Hospital like my kids, and have a birth certificate up from Westminster, the old Westminster by the way, but at Baker Street. That was where the old office was. Um, but that's something that the immigration officer didn't do. He came. So what happens is, as a new prisoner, within that first week, they came to our cell, and it's generally like that as well. Anyway, they'll do their rounds, um, and then they'll ask. You'll have a little interview. Obviously, like you don't have your documents, but you can prove it. Now, this specific guy, this specific immigration officer, didn't do the check. I know that because I was speaking with um, one of the prison officers that was helping me with my case with regards to the immigration. So I had to ask my sister to send me a photocopy of my birth certificate, um, photocopy of my passport as well, um, through email, which you can email a prisoner. Yeah, you can send money to a prisoner. I mean, there's just things on, find the prisoner. It's all on the direct gov site anyway. But got my sister to send me an email, and I had forwarded that now to the prison officer who was dealing with it, and he did the check. And within 2 hours, I got called back into my cell because you have your own cell, you have your own landline or home phone inside the cell. I got a call in the cell saying that immigration has passed. We've seen your passport, seen your driving license as well. That's how I know they check my DVLA, um, driving license and birth certificate. All passed. Now, as a new prisoner going in, like some people be thinking, oh man, I'm gonna get deported. I'll never be able to get back to UK again, and you started your life here. It's a bit like my cellmate. He's got a chance to be deported because he's got an indefinite stay here, indefinite stay to remain. But because he's breached that through a sentence, a custodial sentence, um, and was imprisoned, he that the Home Office now has the chance to look into the case and possibly deport him because of the offence. And that could be any offence, by the way, any kind of criminal offence. You do something wrong, or they'll deport you as soon as possible. But receiving the letter saying that I'm not eligible for home detention curfew or tag because that immigration officer didn't do his job properly. You got to think, how many men in there are going to be thinking, I'm going to get deported? That plays a huge part on their mental health, and that's no joke. I mean, you got to think, you got to remember that when you're already in prison, so you're already expecting the worst, um, and to receive a letter. I mean, I've got all my paperwork there. The letters, it was just it was a joke to me. It's so funny, to say that I'm not eligible for it because I'm gonna get deported. You know, I was talking with my parents and my sister at the time and saying, well, they're looking to deport me here to back home to Wembley. Um, there's no way they could have deported me anyway. I mean, they could have deported me back to Philippines, but I'm not of dual nationality. I wasn't born in Philippines, um, so there's no way that they could have used anything like that. But what my annoyance was is um, having to go through that. Do you know what I mean? I mean, and knowing full well that other prisoners are going through the same thing as well. Um, you know, I questioned that and I put in a huge complaint. Every day I was trying to, you know, talk to the governor as well, by the way, um, which never happened. And you know, after all of those complaint forms filled out, I'm surprised you didn't see my 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 complaint forms because every day I was putting one down regarding that. You know, it's not like I was saying at the time that you know you suffer from stress and anxiety. You know, I mean, for me, when I knew that I couldn't get in there, I couldn't get deported, but the fact is that there could have been a possibility, and you know, I had to get my sister to have a look, read up on some rights regarding that because there's no way that I could have been deported. Um, it just goes to show how badly trained you could say these immigration officers are, or prison officers, or the whole system itself inside. You know, they're not looking to help you, and that's a fact. You know, if them screws don't like you, screws by the way is prison officers. So this is literally the term inside screw. Um, Prison officer, whether you're one stripe, two stripe, three stripe, screw. Um, they're not there to help you. You have to sort of help yourself, and that's for some people might be hard. Um, you know, especially those who are suffering from mental health issues. They're not gonna get up and want to ask for this and do that. They're just gonna want to do their time, and you know that's it. But with myself, I'm slightly different. I was countering everything. I was trying to make a complaint on it. But I mean, you know, I got heard in the end. I mean, one of the prison officers, like I said, he's a Polish guy, Phil, Mr. Phil. Um, Such a huge help, and I think he was genuine. Um, I mean, especially our, you know, the conversations that we had, was very, very. To me, he was genuine. He did help. I mean, he was the one that phoned immigration um, to let them know, and to let me to find out and to let me know. So I mean, he's one of the sort of bright sparks that's inside there. That you know, do you know what I mean? You, whoever's been inside, you'll find that certain screw that's going to be, you know, in the best interest. You know, it's meant to be a rehabilitation place, but yeah, it's as most say, it's not. It is punishment at the end of the day. Um, but the things that you're doing in there doesn't seem like anyone is rehabilitating. Do you know what I mean? Um, you'd have to watch a good few other videos. There's so many documentaries out there that you can watch. You know, Channel 4, for example, Life Behind Bars, all these channels, these channels that you can watch and learn if you are that interested. But back to that last 24 hours, that was on the night. So the 19th of May um, was my eligibility for release. 19th of May, and I was released on the 30th of May. So that 19th of May, that time there specifically, I was obviously just excited the fact that I could be released now anytime. But it's also the most tiring, just thinking about it and just being in your cell or just being in there. If you weren't doing any work, then it doesn't help the time pass by. I mean, 23 hours in a cell. It's a long ass day. Um, you know, the things that we would do is literally after your association. Association is when you get that out for that 1 hour. Um, I mean, straight after you go sleep. By lunchtime, you're asleep. You know, your breakfast ration comes in at sort of about 11. That's Monday to Friday, by the way. Monday to Friday, your rations will come in about 11, and then and then your hot meal will come 5, 6, anytime between then, 4, 5, 6. But on the weekends and on bank holiday, the hot meals are swapped. So you get your hot meal at 11 o'clock, which is like a breakfast um, pack, like literally sausage, bacon, egg, um, hash brown, some bread, butter. That's what you get delivered to your cell, um, and then you get your rations later on about 4, 5 o'clock. I mean, it's backwards. I mean, I understand there should be fixed meals, fixed hot meals every evening. That's kind of when you want it. Do you know what I mean? You want. I mean, I can't complain. You know, that's how the system is. That's how the system's been working out at HMP Scrubs. It's going to take a while for anyone to look into that and change a few things in there to make life a bit more manageable in the cells, in the prison. Um, but that's what we do. We'd sleep for 3, 4 hours, wake up. I mean, if you're working, you'd wake up again about 1 o'clock. So you're in your cells from 11. Then you're back out again about 1:30. Um, so in between that time, you could sleep. You know, it helps pass the time. Um, you know, you're sleeping for at least 11 to 12 hours a day if you get to do that. But if you're awake and you're just in your cell, it's again, that's torture. Just chilling and just watching TV and looking out the window and doing your little cell workout. You know, that's torture. Um, but when I got given that eligibility date, I mean, like I said, it was tiring. I couldn't really sleep. I was up late nights, um, up early because you can hear the banging of the doors from 7 o'clock when they start letting the workers out, the wing workers or kitchen workers, recycling workers. You hear that at 7, and there's no way you can't hear that, and that is a huge alarm. The minute you hear that jingling of the chain and unlocking of the doors, or opening and banging of the doors, you're like, whoa. It's something that will always live with me now, um, for a long time. Um, just the sound of that, it rings in your ear, my ears anyway. You just even closing a door, for example. I mean, these doors in the prison are metal. The ones that we've got here are wooden or plastic or whatnot. But that sound, that sound of that cell door, it's that's something else, and the keys as well. Yeah. Um, but the build up to the actual day of your release. Now, when you're eligible for release, you kind of want to know, you want to be given that date when you're going to be released, not just you're eligible from. Um, it's waiting for that day, and you ask every day. I think it's with me. I was asking every day, to all the prison officers, the SOs, am I eligible for release tomorrow? I'm eligible for release tomorrow, and I'd ask in the morning, I'd ask in the afternoon, and then I'd ask in the evening before we all went in, after our work. And um, every day these prison officers don't really follow up. Um, I mean, for example, you ask them to. I ask them if they can email the HDC officer, Miss Audrey, to find out. And the thing is, you kind of have to persist with them. These screws will always say, "Oh no, I ain't got time at the moment. I'll do it when I get back in." And it's like they ain't gonna do it when you get back in. You kind of, if they're free there and then, you go to that office, you stand in the office, and you ask them, please, can you send that email so that there is some kind of a trace. Um, that email is a huge help. That call, I don't really believe them sometimes when they make that call. When they try to call the department, oh, they're not in. Oh, he's busy at the moment, and you hear that every single time. And I was, oh, he's busy at the moment. Oh, they're not in. Oh, there's somebody else in today, and it's like these officers. I mean, you got to push yourself. I showed them as much respect as they deserve, because I didn't want to be picked on by them. Do you know what I mean? That's one of the things that you'd have to think when you get in there, is that you're gonna start pissing off these officers, because if you get on their bad side, I think it'll be hell for that person, um, staying there on that same wing. It's not gonna be it's not gonna be an easy life for you, that's for sure. But I'll talk about that in another video, like do's and don'ts, for example. Um, so I'm asking every day. Um, Weekends, nothing happens. Saturday, Sunday, it's a change of staff. It's the weekend staff that come in, and they are different, very very different. I mean, you know what? Weekend staff give you less time out. They give you 45 minutes out rather than an hour. Um, you know, and that was always a piss day. Always a piss day, because you've just been out for 10 minutes, and they say this last call for showers. They're shouting that throughout the yard, inside the landings, the corridors. They put on the tannoy announcement, last call for showers, and it's only been 10 minutes, and you're thinking, right, this is going to be a shit day. It's going to be a short day. It's within or you only got 45 minutes to go out and do your thing, and it's like, it, all of us in the ring were like, what the fuck's going on? What's going on? Um, that's not fair. Monday to Fridays we get 1 hour. Like, that's no joke. The landing staff are decent and generous like that. They'll give you the 1 hour, but the weekend staff, they don't play about. That's where you notice the abuse of power. Um, they're new staff. They're not on that wing, so they couldn't care less about what's going on that wing, or all the prisoners. Uh, they're only cover. You think of it as agency. For example, you get an agency worker, and they ain't gonna do the job properly. You know that, unless you find that someone, um, they're from an agency worker that will actually work. But in this case, where they've been sort of covering, it's not their main wing, so they don't really want to know you, or what you need. Do you know what I mean? So, but weekend, nothing happens on the weekend. No paperwork's on the weekend. Um, all offices closed, finance is closed. Everything is a shutdown. Is a shutdown. Um, but again, when it comes to bank holiday as well, and there was bank holidays in May and in April, um, nothing again happens on that day. So say for example, every Monday, for us, if there was two bank holidays on the Monday, that was coronation, and then the one here, the end of the month, the 30th, sorry, the 29th, which was my birthday, and that was a bank holiday as well. Um, so nothing happened on that day, closed. I could have been released on that Monday if it wasn't for a bank holiday, because the letter was sent out to me. Well, the letter was signed and dated on the 26th. So that was a Friday. Don't know what time. It doesn't say what time it is on the paper there. But from that Friday, I could have been released. Maybe it was because I was annoying them. Like, I was consistently asking, oh, am I going to be released? Am I going to be released? Monday, the 29th, first thing in the morning, got ready for work, got a letter from the prison officer, Miss Halima, Mrs. H, and it was my release the following day, the 30th. And that's how you got to know it. Um, Nobody will tell you how it goes, how it works in there, when you're due for release, or who you can speak to about it. And, they do things in a way where it's almost impossible for you to find out and, you know, do the things that you do out here. Like, you follow up on things. Do you know what I mean? If you got a complaint or you got an issue, you follow up on it. In there, they make it difficult where you almost just can't do it. And some give up. I wouldn't be surprised if some gave up just like that. But I'm trying not to have that mentality of never giving up, because you got to think, if you're doing time in there, you're not going to give up until you get out. You're going to do what you can, keep a low profile and get out. And you're not giving up on that. Do you see what I mean? You're not, you're looking for that release date. But got the letter on that Monday, and I was happy to know that I will be released the following day. The following day. Didn't tell anyone, but some people knew, because this is because of the screws. The screws had told certain people in there, certain inmates in there, or prisoners in there, that I'll be leaving. And the way I know this is because I always had private conversation with these guys in their office. Wasn't really in and around any other prisoner to let them know, or to tell them my story, or tell them what's going on. I never opened up my mouth. Nobody knew that I was only doing that short length of time on the wing. I was always just kept keeping quiet. I just said, yeah, I'm in here for posting. And that's how, like, literally, I would divert everything, because I was in for posting, posting on social media, about my ex, about the system, about parental alienation, basically, the family court system. That's what I was inside for. So I would talk to them about me being in for posting, and we'd have a joke about it. To be honest with you, I mean, it is such a weak offence to get sentenced for posting inside, to get sent inside, and I think that's the general view. Um, Even on the inside, they were laughing. They were taking the piss out of me that, my ex sent me in here for posting, on social media. And, they've been in for other crimes. They've been in there for, GBH. They've been in there for assault. They've been in there for knife crime, murder, conspiracy to supply, selling, all heaps of convictions and criminal offences. And when they heard about my one, yeah, I mean, they knew already. They already took the piss out of my surname, Doctor. Um, that's how I was known inside, Doctor, the Doctor. And literally on my plaque it says the Doctor. So everyone was like, Doctor, Doctor's in the house. Um, and for for them to find out that way from the screws, it's because they want that room. The screws will let them know on the day of release. Um, Sorry, the day before, because it would be on their system. Because I checked in the morning when I got the letter, then I checked in the afternoon when before we went in, and then I checked in the evening again. Um, and the system is there to be private, but what the screws do is, if I mean, this is my perception, yeah, because things are going on in prison. I mean, you get phones inside, you get tobacco inside, you get all sorts of contraband, all sorts of contraband. I mean, I've been offered everything that you're not supposed to have. You can get inside for a inflated price. Um, but the reason why they wanted specifically my cell is because my window opens. I don't have like a grill that is covered from the inside. My window opens, so like in certain jails, like you know what happens when they want to throw their stuff out and then they swing it, so that the other cellmate lower down can catch it. Um, they wanted my cell because I had that window. There's only a handful of wings, and on that one side, it's open, and this is where everything was passed. I mean, right outside my window, everybody's talking, from lunchtime or even in the evenings, especially in the evenings, I should say. Um, but everything happens through that window and through that side. Everyone's talking through there. Things are being passed around through there. Um, but that's the reason why they want my cell. And I was asked to move 3 times by prison officers to move cell. So when I moved into the D wing, I was in there for already only 3 nights, and I got asked to move, and I was constantly asked to move, um, and I didn't want to move because when I got into my cell was filth. That was absolute filth. This guy did not clean this floor, left the toilet in a state, the sink was in a state, the cupboards was just messy. The floor looked like it ain't even been brushed, um, ain't been uh, mopped, and it took me 3 days to sanitize that room. So that was my stance. So I literally, because they're doing cell inspections, and on top of that, my cell was also checked for any contraband or anything like that. Um, I think that cell was well known because some of the guys were talking to me about that cell, and yeah, it was a cell that they had. You can hide stuff in there. I mean, I found all the hiding spaces in there, and I literally pointed out all of this stuff. I said, look, I mean, that was my first night when I was cleaning, and there was little pockets of holes there. There's pockets of holes just outside the window where you just take off the rubber, and I mean, you know, these are the hiding spots, hiding places where um, you'd hide your stuff basically, and that cell was known um, to the screws. And I was asked to move 3 times, and I was like, no, I'm not moving. I'm not going upstairs. Or they wanted to move me to the threes landing and fours landing. And I was like, no, I'm not looking to go upstairs, clean another cell, take 3 days to clean out that cell properly, um, and then start living in there. And I was like, no, I'm happy on the ones. I know the people on the ones, the screws on the ones. They because they'd come into your cell and do your cell inspection, check the lights, check the toilet. They'd see how clean my cell was, and that's kind of how I got a wing work job as well as a cleaner. I called it domestic cleaner because I was cleaning the um, disabled cells. So those who were on wheelchairs, those who had crutches, those who had mobility issues. I was the one cleaning their room, sanitizing the room, etc. etc. Which was my job, fun job. Just got to meet others in there, but I didn't want to move, and I'd only had moved if I knew that this Guy coming in was disabled and needed that cell because of mobility issues. And I said that to the officers. Um, and the thing is, they won't lie. Um, they won't lie, but it's still your choice anyway, whether you want to move. I mean, you may think that they're trying to be kind and, they're giving you a little bonus. Ain't no bonus. Stay in your cell. Stay in that one until you have to move, basically. Um, but that was the case. The screws were the one that spoke to the officers. Sorry, the certain prisoners, and told them that I'm leaving the next day. So that same day, on a Monday, throughout the day, everyone's asking me for your cell, for the cell. Can I have your cell? Can I have your cell? And I'm like, I'm not in house. I'm not the in house manager to be moving or to be asking for requests. And I said, look, you guys are in here longer than I have. I'm moving out tomorrow. It is. I mean, even they inspected the cell. So prisoners came into the cell and was like, "Oh yeah, man, I want this cell. I want this cell." And they rush over to the officers and say, "Oh yeah, I want this cell tomorrow. I want move me in here tomorrow. From tomorrow." So what happened was on the day of release, which was the 30th, um, the one who got my cell was one of the cell workers on the wing. Um, Now, the reason why he got it first was because as a worker, you get let out first. Um, you get let out about 7:30, 7:45 in the morning. They wake you up. They want you to get ready for work, start cleaning the landings, mopping, or go to the gym, or get the listeners out, or get the kitchen staff out. So there's one specific guy. I'm not going to say his name, but the Irish guy. He was the first one in. He was bugging the whole of that my birthday for it, and what he did was he took out he started the minute I got out. um, it was like, bro, I'm having your cell, please. I'm taking your cell now, and it was like, bro, I'm ready. I'm packed. Everything is cleared down. All my stuff's in a bag. Them clear bags that you get for your bins and for your stuff, your clothes and whatever to put in. Um, my stuff was already packed. What did he do? He started bringing an extra chair. He started bringing his table down. He swapped his TV. Um, he saw the TV that I had. I mean, the TV in there has a USB plug that you can plug in, so you can actually watch certain stuff. Um, if you got a USB, that is. And there will be people asking you in the jail if you can swap TVs purely because their USB thingy is not reading, and then you know why. Um, and I had a good few ask me to swap, and I said, "Look, man, I ain't got no USB in here. Take the TV. I don't care. Just take the TV. Leave me alone." um, so he's done all that. He started moving his stuff in immediately. I mean, this was even before any officers clocked on. The officers said, hey, what are you doing? And obviously, where you've got half your stuff already in the cell, there's nothing that the officers can do now because that cell is empty. That cell was clean. My cell was gleaming every single time. I wish I could have painted. That would have made it look 10 times better. Um, but he got the cell and I was released. Now that release is one of the most excruciating weights you can ever imagine. Um, so 8:30, shipped to the front reception straight away. Front reception for where you get checked in. And when you come um, in your first night in prison, first day in prison, take you back to that same place. Now here, it was in a waiting room, same waiting room which was opposite the sort of health desk check. Um, we're just waiting in there for all the other prisoners that are going to be transferred, deported, or released. Only three, only three. So you're all in the same room, and at that time there was 8 of us in that room until you all started getting called out. But there was only 4 of us that was released on that day. Now that room was rowdy, rowdy. Everyone's happy. Everyone's trying to be uplifted, um, trying to be motivated. But that slowly wears off because the waiting time is a nightmare. Um, so you can imagine we was all in that cell from 8:30. We were released at just 10 past 12, just gone 12. So 3.5 hours of waiting around. Now, what happened? Um, when you get released, those the 4 of us that get released, we get put into the front. We get checked out. We get given back our belongings, uh, stuff in that you couldn't have inside, or there may be like your chain, your earrings that you could have just left in reception, your wallet, your money that you came in with gets returned, and if you have any outstanding balances on your canteen credit or in your spends or private, that gets returned back to you cash in a little envelope, brown envelope. Um, so all of us walked away with something. I mean, there was some in there that walked away with £80, £82 actually is the standard um, return. Everyone got £82 on top of that. So I walked out with £300 because I had 215 when I went in. So and £82 was that sounds to me like job seekers allowance. So you get that. Um, you get given your bus ticket, 2 bus saver tickets to take you to your probation office because that's part of your license as well when you get released. They talk to you about this paper. So I got the paper there. I mean, I was on tag, but others didn't have the tag. So they were just you know being released. But you have to report to your probation officer office within that day. So where I was released at 12, my probation meeting was then was at 2 o'clock. So you can imagine you're waiting around now to get out. You want to do your thing. You want to get home to the family. You want to go have a proper shower, go have a nice proper meal. Um, we was waiting around because 2 of them in there uh, needs medication now. Now, I told these prison officers that why am I being held? Because these other 2 ain't had their medication in the morning, and the nurse who is supposed to drop it to the front reception doesn't have time at the moment because obviously now they're doing the prisoners on the wing. So why do we have to wait for this long? Why do I have to be in here with them? Why can't you let me and this other guy out, which I was saying, take us to the front, we'll be on our way. They need to have their medication, have their medication. I was telling them, like, why are you waiting for medication? You could just tell them, no, I don't need it, and then we're let out. But you have to understand that these other 2 were on medication since they were here. Uh, what medication it was, I don't know. I could probably guess what it is. Because they're going for rehab. They're on the rehab wing, so you kind of know what they were getting. But I mean, it's all you know. all medicated drugs. Um, and that's when you start to lose. Well, the other guy in there was starting to lose his temper because he was waiting for these other two. Like I was saying, that why are we waiting for two guys who needs medication and us two we don't? Um, that was the best part because now it started banging on the door again. Um, you start knocking on the door. You start calling them out. He was like, "Hello, is anybody home? Hello, hello." I mean, those things that, like, when you hear that on the wing, we were always laughing. We'd always cracking up on that. Somebody shouting while they're in the set, especially in the evenings. But for it to happen before we get released as well, that's a joke. Um, we didn't get no breakfast, nothing. We're supposed to get some kind of a breakfast that day as well, like at least a ration pack. But obviously in the heat that moment, you're not thinking to eat. But it's already 12 o'clock. You're not even been offered like tea, coffee, um, glass of water, or anything. Do you know what I mean? So um, it's excruciating waiting. It is excruciating. I mean, I really didn't understand why we had to wait another bloody 3 hours before we got released. You know, but that's my last 24 hours at HMP1 with Scrubs. Hope you like the video. Hope you like this little story. Real story, real talk. Um, One take. And my next video's going to be coming out soon. Um, but I hope you like. I hope you subscribe and look forward to the next video. See you guys.